You are in the rant wormhole where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one is for Sapien, who says rant about millennials slash being a millennial. Being a millennial, where I see us as like a transitioning, transitory, is that the right word? Generation between, between two major, I guess, parts of human history as they are probably going to be remembered, like between pre-internet and post-internet, because I really do think that internet and social technology has just kind of completely reshaped how we understand everything and how everything works. And I think that the people who are too old for it, who don't understand it, once those people are gone, that's not going to be a type of person that exists ever again. There's never going to, again, in history, be somebody who has never experienced the internet, who has never experienced the social interconnectivity of the entire planet Earth. And so that's going to feel like almost not like a different species, but like people with such a different mindset about what the world even is, what other people are. Like it goes beyond something like being well traveled or knowing people around the world. It's like you can actively real time communicate with anyone anywhere who happens to be online. You can just have a worldwide community inherently in this thing, and that is so insanely powerful that the only reason that there's not even more of the world shaped around it is that it wasn't the case until now, and that there's a lot of people who don't have it yet. But like, there's going to come a point, and obviously, this, when I say that like there will never be another person like that again, there will still be like poor people who can't afford the internet, or people living in countries where it hasn't completely permeated yet for a while. But like the sheer speed at which internet has continued to proliferate, and which we are pushing it to proliferate, I think there's going to be kind of a radical shift when, like, I'm pushing 30. I'm 27. There are people. I'm considered like kind of a late millennial. Like, I'm late into that generation, even though I was an early adopter of the internet. But I was very young, when I got onto it. I was like a fucking. I was under 10, So I think that there's about a couple decades worth of people dying to come before we start to really see just how crazy the impact of the internet could really be in a world where more than 50% of the population is using it. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but like more than 50% completely understands it. Like there's plenty of people who are on Facebook and don't really venture into what the internet really can do or what it really is and be a part of like a broader social community. But I don't think there's tons of young people who have no conception of that. I don't think there's lots of young people who've never been on YouTube or never been on Twitter, So, like, the way I see it, as older generations who, as anybody who doesn't get the internet dies out, we're going to enter a world where everybody who's left is going to say, well, shit, now that we don't have those people holding us back, now that we don't have, for instance, something like all these old fucks in the EU passing some shit like Article 13 out of a total lack of understanding of what the internet is or is capable of. Once that shit is over with, that's when you're going to see, people redeciding the rules. People saying like, okay, well, now that we're all on the same page here, now that we've got people in the government who understand the internet truly, let's figure out what we can do with the world under these circumstances. So I feel like millennials, we are coming into power relatively soon. If someone like, say, Andrew Yang, who's running for president, like if he were to win, that guy I think is a millennial. I think he's only in his 30s, and I think millennials basically go up to like 39 right now. Um, so like when that happens, well, not to say that he's going to win or anything, but like when someone like that is in a position of power,
Not in his 30s.
he's not. How old is he?
Yeah, you have to be like in your late 30s, I think.
You have to be 35 to run for president.
I think he's in his 40s.
He looks young as
He's
shit.
Asian.
He is Asian, but he looks young as shit.
He's Asian.
Well, whatever. Either way, he's barely older than a millennial. If he is, if he's not a millennial already. Point being that like there are people who are like getting to the age where they can run for office, who are millennials. Who are a part of the internet generation, who came up with this, who see it for what it is, and who like when I would say the next decade is going to be the time when the millennials start to be the people who are running more of the show. More boomers dying out, Gen Xers going, we don't want this shit. You guys take it. You're smarter than us. You know computers. I don't even know how to install fucking Windows. You youngins gotta fucking rule the world because you know what the hell is going on. So I guess the true impact of millennials has yet to be felt, is what I'm trying to say. Like, we've been sort of pigeonholed. We've been grouped together with the Zoomers, who I really think are a different. Like, I think there's kind of a hard cut. Kids who were born like post 97 or so, I would say, because of the fact that they came up in an era where the internet existed when they were born. They already had technology. They had the internet from inception. And for someone like me, even though I was such an early adopter and had it for such a young age, it was still something that was introduced, and I lived in a world where almost nobody understood it. Where, like, I was the only person I knew who was using the internet, IRL, like, nobody around me was online until, like, probably 2008 or 9, when it really caught on in, like, a huge way with social media, and like everybody was online all of a sudden. Like, so if you came up and you like were already in that, you already saw it as like something that is big, something that is important, something that is just a layer over top of the real world. Like that's taken for granted at this point. Like something that in 1998 Serial Experiments Lane was like making a case for is something that is like blasé to someone who was born, after the year 2000. So like, that's a different generation. But us millennials, the people older than us can't necessarily see that disconnect because they just see it as this is all the young people who are on their iPhones, But I'm interested to see how our generation will affect the ones that are younger than us. I'm interested to see like where if there will be a distinction that is that important in the long run. If like when we are in charge, will the people younger than us hate us? Or will they think that we're doing a good job? Or will we be working directly with younger people? Because I think that millennials generally don't have the same kind of ageism that older people do. I think that, boomers and shit are like, very like, protect the kids, but like they think that kids are just like fucking infants until they're 18, whereas millennials grew up on an internet where, 10-year-olds are smarter and better at things than you regularly. So, it'll be interesting to see the way that everything is treated after that point. That's all I could possibly say about millennials.